Good evening, friends and adventurers. Tonight, I'm going to take you on a legendary sleep adventure with Link and Zelda. If you like what you hear, please make sure to subscribe and continue your journey every night with us here at DreamQuest. So now, close your eyes, loosen your shoulders, relax your jaw, take a nice deep breath in and let it out. Let's begin. The Royal Lullaby Restored, an Ocarina-era bedtime fanfic. Prologue, A Kingdom Awake. The gardens of Hyrule Castle breathed in the hush between midnight and dawn. Lanterns dimpled the hedges with warm amber, and the fountains spoke in glittering syllables. Yet the hush was a restless one. A guard leaned on his spear and blinked too slowly. A maid crossed the courtyard with a basket of linens and stifled a yawn. From the village below, even the cuckoo seemed confused, fussing and muttering at no one. Zelda stood with her hands clasped behind her back, tilting her face to the stars as if she might read them. A strand of hair had slipped free. Moonlight turned it to a thread of pale gold. When Link's boots whispered across the flagstones, she glanced over, and her whole expression, a careful princess's composure, bloomed into something soft and bright. "You came," she said, softly triumphant, as if she doubted and hoped in equal measure. "I had a feeling you would." Link answered with a nod and the smallest smile, the kind that warmed the eyes before it found the mouth. He touched the ocarina at his belt. Habit, greeting, promise. "I think I know why everyone is so sleepless," Zelda said, lowering her voice like a secret. "My nurse used to hum the royal lullaby when I couldn't slip into dreams. It was more than a tune. It braided the kingdom together. But a song is a weaving, and we have unpicked so many threads. I can feel the verses, 7 of them scattered. If we gather them, we can mend the lullaby." "Tonight?" Link asked, barely above a whisper. "Tonight," Zelda said, with the cheerful certainty of someone suggesting a walk to the bakery rather than a moonlit pilgrimage across Hyrule. "It will be a nice, quiet errand. We'll keep to paths and lanterns. No trouble." From the stable yard, Epona nickered, as if she had heard her cue. Zelda brightened. "We'll take your friend as far as Lon Lon. After that, it's mostly our feet and our wits." She lifted a small hand lantern. Inside, an herb bundle smoldered faintly, perfuming the air with chamomile and something else gentler still. The flame answered the night with a contented sigh. Link reached to adjust the wick, practical, and Zelda watched the tiny flame grow with satisfaction, playful. "Ready?" she asked. Link's nod was yes, and also thank you. They stepped into the cool night with the castle at their backs and the fields ahead, the sky a river of stars flowing to the horizon. "Rest now, Hyrule. Hush and slow. We gather light wherever we go." Chapter 1, The Forest Verse. Kokiri Forest met them with dew-pearled webs and the burble of unseen streams. Lantern moths troubled the air. The trees leaned in with the drowsy curiosity of old friends. At the verge of the lost woods, the path pinched into shadow, then opened into clearings stitched together by spiraling logs. The air chimed faintly, as if the forest kept a box of glass marbles. It rattled when amused. Zelda breathed it in. "I always forget how clean it smells here," she murmured. "Green and new." Link put 2 fingers to his lips and whistled once. The The reply did not come as an echo, but as a memory. Saria's melody, a fragment tucked into the folds of the night. The trees seemed to listen. When he brought the ocarina up, the first note sounded like a leaf turned by the smallest wind. Not her song, Zelda said, tilting her head. Not tonight. The forest verse wants something simpler, like when you hum without thinking, to keep your hands busy. They stood very still. The lost woods teased them with wrong paths and right ones, with bird calls thrown like pebbles. Zelda closed her eyes. "The birds," she said, smiling. "They're rehearsing." A thrush chirped in a 5-note arc. A second answered with 3 held tones. A third stitched them with a low, even thread. Zelda pointed, delighted. Left, then right, then through the hollow log. Link went first. Lantern held low. Inside the log, the air was moss-cool and smelled of old rain. On the other side, the trees made a small room. At its center grew a stump with a wooden ocarina resting on it, carved with vines and worn where hands had loved it. He lifted it. It felt familiar, the way a dozing cat does, warm with its own memory. "Play the birds," Zelda said, cutesy and encouraging, making a little conducting gesture, but slower, as if you're tucking a child in. Link smiled and obliged. He traced the thrush's 5-note arc, then the 3 held tones, then the low thread. He let them fall together, unhurried. The clearing sighed. Leaves rustled as if in applause. A tone arrived. The forest breath made audible. A soft green hum that curled like fern fronds and settled behind the heart. Zelda touched the lantern's glass. The flame bobbed, and for a moment it glowed greener, like starlight sifted through leaves. "That's one," she said. "The forest verse, a listening made into a lullaby." As they turned to leave, the ocarina's wooden twin shimmered, then faded. The stump looked empty but content, like a pillow after a good nap. "Rest now, Hyrule, hush and slow. We gather light wherever we go." Chapter 2, The Water Verse. Zora's domain wore the moon the way a dancer wears a silk shawl. The water made 100 soft decisions, and every one of them sounded like comfort. A sheet over stone, a bead clinging and then letting go, a ribbon slipping through a comb. The waterfall's roar smoothed itself to a steady hush in the night. Princess Ruto was awake, of course. She stood near the main falls with her hands on her hips, drumming a toe against the polished stone. When she saw them, her impatience dissolved into fondness. "Link," she said, teasing, "you owe me a visit that isn't a crisis. Ah, and your highness. Good evening. You're both out very late and looking like conspirators." "Only of rest," Zelda said, suddenly formal, then losing it to a grin. "We're gathering the royal lullaby's verses. We think one lives here." Ruto softened at the word lullaby in a way she might have denied later. "People have been sleep swimming," she confessed, rolling her eyes, waking up in the shallows with their cheek in the reeds. It's very undignified. If there's a verse here, let's find it. She led them to a ledge where the falls thinned into silver strings. "Everyone thinks lullabies are melody, melody, melody," she said, wagging a finger. "But the body sleeps by pulse. Feel this." She cupped her hands under the fall. Water gathered, trembled into a bead, and then dropped onto her palm. Another bead followed, and another. Not random, but not rigid. A patient heart that understood rivers. "Count," Zelda said happily. already swaying. But not with numbers, with breaths. Link held his palm under the fall. Cool, then cool again, then cool. He let his breath match the beads. In, bead, out, bead, in, bead, bead. The pattern shifted, flirted with hurry, remembered slowness. He brought the ocarina up and did not play a tune so much as cradle that pulse with a low tone, almost beneath hearing. Zelda whispered a line, as if speaking to the water. Sleep is the body remembering the shore, she said. The shore is the body remembering sleep. Ruto, with great dignity, pretended she was not moved. That will do, she said briskly. Very well. The waterfall's silver threads thickened into ropes of quiet. Deep in the domain, the cavern lights drooped. Floating lanterns lowered their faces to the pool. A tone rose, clear, fluid, but squarely steady beneath its shimmer, like a hand at your spine that says you won't fall. The lantern flame took on a watery sheen. Zelda's shoulders settled by a fraction, as if a string had slackened at last. The waterverse, she said, bright again. Pulse made gentle. Ruto sniffed, satisfied. If anyone sleep swims tonight, it will be because they chose a very good dream, she said. Then more softly to Link, you two look, well, I'm glad. They left to the music of droplets, finding their way home. Rest now, Hyrule, hush and slow. We gather light wherever we go. Chapter 3. The Stone Verse. By the time they climbed to the Goron hot springs, night had taken on the velvet weight before dawn. Steam curled out of the earth and smelled faintly of mineral and happiness. The springs spoke in bubbles, patient and unhurried. A baby Goron sat at the rim of the smallest pool, cheeks puffed, palms pressed flat to the water, making emphatic splashes. Every time he did, an elder 2 pools over made a face and tried to look stern. He failed and smiled instead. Zelda crouched by the little one. "Hello, mighty drummer," she said, cutesy, like she was complimenting a king's armor. "Are you playing the fast song?" "Fast," the baby said, profoundly, and splashed with both hands. Water beads leapt and smacked his cheeks. He giggled, delighted with himself. Link sat on the edge, boots off, feet in. The heat climbed his bones and said, "Here, rest." He tapped a finger on the stone lip. Tap, 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 tap. He slowed it. Tap, tap, tap. The baby watched, rapt, then mimicked with small palms. Slower now, then slower. Zelda added a counter pattern. A brush of fingertip against the stone just before Link's tap, like steam exhaling. "Rock sleeps deep," the elder rumbled from his pool, his voice a mountain moving in its dream. If you listen, you can hear the pressure turn to song. Link laid the ocarina in his lap and set both hands on the stone. He didn't play, he felt. The heat spoke in bubbles, the bubbles in rounded syllables, the syllables in the memory of weight laid down over time. He brought the instrument up and gave the stone a voice, low, full, resonant as a cave, but left pockets of silence into which the bubbles could rise and settle. The steam thickened, then thinned, then found a perfect in-between. The baby Goron, now very serious about his role as percussionist, sighed and laid his cheek against the warm rim. The elder let out a deep ho-ho that became a yawn on the way out. Zelda tapped the lantern's glass. Amber turned to a heart-glow brown, a color you feel in your ankles and knees. "The stone verse," she said, gravity remembered as comfort. The baby's eyes drooped. "Slow," he announced, and then, after considering his own wisdom, added, "Nap." Zelda bowed solemnly to him. "A wise prince," she said. Link's smile tilted a little wider. "Rest now, Hyrule. Hush and slow. We gather light wherever we go." Chapter 4. The Shadow Verse. Kakariko at night held his breath so gently you could mistake it for silence. Blue ghost lights hovered in the graveyard like thought bubbles that had fallen out of someone's head and drifted until they stuck on the air. The windmill turned in a slow dream, its veins making the quietest hush-hush with each pass. Dampé met them at the gate with his lantern, which was somehow both dim and reassuring, like a low voice in a long corridor. "Princess," he said, nodding with unexpected grace. "Lad." His smile was shy and mostly in his eyes. "Bad dreams been heavy. People wake thinking they forgot someone important. They ain't wrong, but it ain't cruel. It's just the past asking to be put down gently." Zelda took his arm as if he were escorting her to a dance and not to the tombstones. "Then we'll help lay it down," she said softly. They walked the rows. Names, dates, carved flowers, a songbird, a cuckoo, someone had a sense of humor. A trio of brothers who'd argued all their lives and were now arranged in peace. The air in the graveyard had temperature but no edge. It didn't bite. It touched the back of the neck like a hand with work to do. "The riddle," Dampé said, "goes like this. What do we keep by letting go?" Zelda's smile was sudden and proud. "Memory," she said. "We don't hold it by squeezing. We hold it by opening a place for it to sit and rest." Dampé's nod was deep approval. "Try the old bell." The bell hung in a stone arch almost swallowed by ivy. Link brushed the leaves back and set his palm to the metal. Cold travelled up his arm. A polite introduction, not a warning. He didn't ring it. He breathed against it. His breath fogged the metal and then disappeared. He pressed the ocarina's mouth to the bell's hollow without touching, just near enough that when he played a single note, the bell woke in sympathy. It didn't clang. It remembered the shape of ringing and offered a ghost of it back. The note held a sadness that wasn't heavy. It was the ache after a good cry, the warmth of a seat where someone you loved had been. Zelda put her forehead to the stone arch. "Thank you," she whispered, and it wasn't clear if she meant the bell or the people under the grass or the patient village itself. The lantern's glow cooled to a moonlit silver at the edges, blue-white at the heart. "The shadow verse," Zelda said, voice steady. "What we keep by letting go." Dampé walked them to the gate. "Sleep comes easier," he said, almost to himself. "You did right." Link bowed. Zelda squeezed Dampé's hand like a granddaughter would, and his eyes went bright as the lantern. "Rest now, Hyrule, hush and slow. We gather light wherever we go." Chapter 5. The Spirit Verse. Gerudo Valley after midnight was a ribbon of cool air braided with drum echoes that hadn't yet learned they were over. The night market had closed, but the stalls wore their decorations like sequins remembering the dance. Tasseled anklets hung from a peg and chimed as the breeze turned them. Naburu leaned against a pillar with the posture of someone who could nap on a camel at full trot. Her smile, when it came, was sideways and warm. "Princess," she said, Hero? Or do you two just prefer your names in the middle of the night? We're collecting verses, Zelda said promptly. Then, unable to help herself, yours is the one with bells and steps and laughing. Naburu's eyes glinted. Spirit isn't solemn. Spirit is what keeps dancing after the music stops. Did you bring feet? Zelda looked at Link with exaggerated seriousness. I brought mine, she said, and lifted one foot to inspect the sole as if checking for holes. Link managed a straight face for 3 seconds, which Naburu counted with her fingers before chuckling. She set 3 anklets on the ground, one with tiny bells, one with shells, one with coins. Pick one each, she said. We'll trade sounds. Zelda chose the bells, of course. They glittered. Link chose the shells, whose sound was softer. Ocean folded into sleep. Naburu took the coins, and the noise they made was the clink of a jar set down after a good day's work. At first, they stepped too many sounds. Anklets chattered. Coins clinked like gossip. Shells whispered in a rush. Naburu shook her head. You're speaking too quickly, she said, kind but ruthless. No one listens when you talk that fast, not even the sand. Zelda, chastened in play, drew herself up. Princess of Hyrule, she announced gravely to the anklets, now orders you to nap. One at a time, if you please. She took a slow step. Bells answered with one patient chime. Link matched with shells in the space after, like a reply. Naburu placed the coin sound not between but beneath, and suddenly the 3 were not arguing but leaning on one another. They moved in a small circle. Bell, shell, coins. Bell, shell, coins. Zelda's laugh softened, rounded to a hum. Link's shoulders forgot to be alert and simply were. Naburu's eyes half closed. The trick, Naburu said softly, is not to fill the night with sound. It's to leave room for quiet so spirit can sit down. The lantern took on a warm desert glow, as if the sand itself had shared a secret ember. The spirit verse, Zelda said, steps and the space between. They returned the anklets to their pegs. Zelda, impulsive, kissed the warm pillar and then pretended she hadn't. Naburu saw and said nothing, which is one way to be kind. Go on, the Gerudo sage said, shooing them with her chin, before the sand remembers how to chatter. Rest now, Hyrule, hush and slow. We gather light wherever we go. Chapter 6. The Wind Verse. Hyrule Field lay between them and Lon Lon Ranch, like an exhale you could walk. The grass retold the wind's gossip in ripples that slowed as the night deepened. Fireflies wrote long, lazy letters to no one. By the time they reached the ranch, a lantern bobbed at the gate. Malon's dress was a shade of dawn before dawn. Her hair was sleep loosened in a way that made Zelda's fingers itch to braid it. Heard Epona's steps, Malon said, voice a drowsy smile. She always sets my heart right. Epona nuzzled Malon's shoulder, made a tiny sound that wasn't quite a whicker and wasn't quite a sigh. Malon's hand knew the exact place to scratch. You're on a night errand, she said, eyes darting to the lantern Zelda carried. You want warm milk for the road? Yes, please, Zelda said, polite and delighted. Also, the wind here has a tune. It does, Malon agreed. It listens to the fences and sings back the low notes. They stood by the paddock. The fence rails hummed when the breeze fingered them. Not a whistle, but a breath caught by wood. Malon hummed, a tune she must have grown up with, the kind you inherit along with the chores. Zelda's eyes went mischievous. She fell in under Malon's line, but a third above, smiling when the harmony slotted into place like a door closing gently. Link answered with the ocarina, choosing not to decorate but to underline, to breathe with them. The wind accepted their kindness and slowed to match it. The grass stopped chattering and began to sway like a sleeper turning to the cool side of the pillow. In the barn, a restless cuckoo huffed, then tucked its head decisively under its wing. Epona blew out a long contentment and stamped once, satisfied. The lantern brightened with a pale gold that felt like straw warmed by sun. The wind verse, Zelda said, fields breathing in time. Malon handed them a small jug with a cloth tied over the top. Take this and my scolding, she said, mock stern. Don't stay up too late. And when you fix whatever you're fixing, save some for me. We will, Zelda promised. And because she was who she was, added, we'll embroider your share with ribbons. Malon laughed. Just bring it back with the morning. They set off again, bellies warmed, the wind keeping them company like a dog that has decided you're worth following. Rest now, Hyrule, hush and slow. We gather light wherever we go. Chapter 7, The Light Verse. The Temple of Time received them as a hush receives a secret. Not surprised, not suspicious, simply ready. Dust motes floated high in the air where the moon through the rose window softened to a pale wash. The altar knew the weight of vows and the absence of them. The pillars reached up and up until the darkness knit them together like fingers laced for prayer. They did not speak. It seemed rude. Zelda set the lantern at the base of the altar. It looked small here, a bedside candle in a cathedral, but it didn't feel small. Link's eyes went to the pedestal where once he had laid and lifted some different part of himself. He did not approach. He bowed his head in the way that means respect, and also I do not need to touch to remember. Light is not sound, Zelda whispered, and her voice made the air aware of itself. But sometimes it carries a sound, the kind even silence can hear. They laid the gathered verses in a circle you couldn't see. Forest's green breath, water's pulse, stone's memory, shadow's gentleness, spirit steps and spaces, wind's field sway. The circle waited, incomplete, only because it had not yet noticed that it was whole. Link brought the ocarina up and tried tentatively a single note. It was too much. It felt like speaking in a library where the librarian has just smiled at you. He let it fade. Zelda knelt, hands on her knees, and did nothing so thoroughly that it became an offering. The light verse arrived in the way a held breath is released when someone you trust takes your hand. It had no tone and all tones. It did not hush the others. It gave them a place to rest. The lantern flame did not grow brighter. The darkness grew kinder, sliding back enough to make room for everything. Link felt his shoulders drop a shy fraction. Zelda's breath came out in a small laugh that was mostly relief. The light verse, she said, almost inaudible. Not a sound, a stillness where the sounds belong. They stayed a long minute, and also no time at all. Time does that, in temples and near secrets. When they finally stood, the lantern looked exactly as it had and utterly changed. Rest now, Hyrule, hush and slow. We gather light wherever we go. Chapter 8. the crown verse. Dawn had not yet decided whether to begin. The castle courtyard wore the same night it had worn when they left, but it had loosened it a little, like a belt let out a notch after a good supper. Banners hung still. The fountains held their tongues, preparing. Zelda set the lantern on the low wall by the hedge maze. 7 verses, she said, counting with a fingertip on the glass, then tapped a final time and did not count it. And one more. The crown is not above the head. It's the circle that closes around what's already there. Link looked at her, because that was a sentence that meant more than it said. Zelda's smile was small and a touch self-teasing. I forgot this part, she confessed. The royal lullaby is a care. It isn't mine alone. It belongs to whoever carries the kingdom in their hands, even for a moment. You do. The guards do. The bakers at dawn. The woman who sweeps this very path. I think the last verse is us. The way we mean well. The way we try. She moved to the fountain's edge and put her palm to the water where its lip almost spilled. Link joined her. The stone was cool, the water cooler. The night put its ear to their hands. Then, Zelda said, we must sing it together. They didn't sing, not exactly. Zelda hummed the thread that had begun in the forest and been wound through water, stone, shadow, spirit, wind, and light. Link found the line that kept the hum true. The fountains leaned, the banners listened, the hedges smelled greener. Somewhere in the servants' quarters, a baby turned and slept heavier. Zelda laughed once, quiet, bright, at nothing in particular, which is how joy sometimes announces itself. Link's answering smile was now an open thing. The lantern swelled, then softened, then steadied. Gold slid into blue, slid into green, slid into a pale white that held every color the way milk holds sunlight. The courtyard exhaled. The crown verse settled into place, not over the others, but around them. A pair of hands cupped so gently you might mistake them for air. Zelda reached out and with ceremony and mischief both, touched her fingertip to Link's knuckle, then to the lantern. There, she whispered, sharing the crown. Rest now, Hyrule, hush and slow. We gather light wherever we go. Epilogue, the first good sleep. The city noticed before the castle did. In the market, a baker slid loaves into the oven with a motion that didn't hurry and didn't dawdle. He yawned once and smiled at the yawn. In a narrow lane, 2 cats who had been arguing came to an agreement so complete they fell asleep tail to tail. In a guard room, a woman woke in her chair with a start and then realized she had dreamed the end of the story her mother used to tell and could fall back asleep exactly where she'd left herself. On the ranch, Malum, who had walked out to hang the milk cloths with the star still bright, leaned on the fence rail and drowsed for a soft, delicious 10 minutes in which her whole body remembered the feeling of a child tucked in bed. In Kakariko, the windmill turned once, twice, 3 times, then decided it had made its point and rested. In the domain, Azora, who dreamed of river stones, woke to find a single perfectly round pebble on his windowsill. He smiled and slept again. In the Lost Woods, laughter threaded through moss without waking a single beetle. And in the castle courtyard, Zelda and Link sat with their shoulders just close enough to share the same pocket of warm air, the lantern between them humming like a cat at peace. Zelda bumped him with the edge of her shoulder. Next time, she said, let's only collect breakfast. Link pretended to consider. 7 kinds of jam, he said, as if weighing the ethics, and Zelda's laugh was bright and then softer on the last breath, like a flame turned down. They watched the eastern edge of the sky admit a single pale brush of colour. It was not morning yet, not fully. It was the promise of it. They didn't rush to meet it. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for dawn is to let it arrive without witnesses. Zelda placed her hand over the lantern and did not snuff it, just covered it so the glow pressed through her fingers in 5 warm lines. She took her hand away. The flame stayed small and sure. "Rest now, Hyrule," she said, and the word rest stretched itself like a cat and lay down exactly where it wanted to be. They stood. The night, grateful, let them go. "Rest now, Hyrule, hush and slow. We gather light wherever we go." Good night, sweet adventurers. If your battle with restlessness is still continuing, please feel free to listen to the music or jump into another adventure. Otherwise, enjoy the music. I'll see you tomorrow.
The moon is shy, it hides its face, a silver thread in a velvet space. The forest hums a lullaby, leaves like whispers soft and slow, carrying tales only stars know. Whisper of the glade calls me near, echoes of a time I hold so dear, steps on moss, hearts unafraid, lost in the whisper of the glade. A brook that sings of crystal streams, its voice entwined with woven dreams. The air is still, yet it dances wide, a distant glow, a fleeting spark guides me through the endless dark. Whisper of the glade calls me near, echoes of a time I hold so dear, steps on moss, A silver moon drifts through the sky, quiet
The moonlight's dancing on your hair. Soft whispers float through the midnight air. Dreams are waiting. Just take their hand. Close your eyes. Leave this waking land. Sleep well, my sweet Lunabelle. In your dreams, where magic dwells, the stars will hum a lullaby and cradle you beneath the sky. The night is quiet, the world's at rest. A velvet hush on the earth's broad chest. The clock ticks slow, but time feels kind. Your heart beats steady. Peace you'll find. Sleep well, my sweet Lunabelle. In your dreams, where magic dwells, the stars will hum a lullaby and cradle you beneath the sky. Let the dark be soft. Let the dark be warm. Safe from shadows. Safe from storms. The night is yours. A boundless sea. Sail through it free. Just you and me. Sleep well, my sweet Lunabelle. In your dreams, where magic dwells, the stars will hum a lullaby and cradle
The moon is shy, it hides its face. A silver thread in a velvet space. The forest hums a lullaby. Leaves like whispers soft and slow, carrying tales only stars know. Whisper of the glade calls me near, echoes of a time I hold so dear. Steps on moss, hearts unafraid, lost in the whisper of the glade. A brook that sings of crystal streams, its voice entwined with woven dreams. The air is still, yet it dances wide. A distant glow, a fleeting spark guides me through the endless dark. Whisper of the glade calls me near, echoes of a time I hold so dear. Steps on moss, hearts unafraid, lost in the whisper of the glade. A silver moon drifts through the sky, quiet silver moon drifts through the sky. Quiet streams hum as they glide. Soft winds whisper
lights dancing on your hair. Soft whispers flow through the midnight air. Dreams awaiting, just take their hand. Close your eyes, leave this waking land. Sleep well, my sweet Lunabelle. In your dreams, where magic dwells, the stars will hum a lullaby and cradle you beneath the sky. The night is quiet, the world's at rest. A velvet hush on the earth's broad chest. The clock ticks slow, but time feels kind. Your heart beats steady, peace you'll find. Sleep well, my sweet Lunabelle. In your dreams, where magic dwells, the stars will hum a lullaby and cradle you beneath the sky. Let the dark be soft, let the dark be warm, safe from shadows, safe from storms. The night is yours, a boundless sea. Sail through it free, just you and me. Sleep well, my sweet